All right. Good morning, everybody, or good afternoon now. My name is Brian Van Hook, and I'm Regional Director of the Small Business Development Center at FIU's College of Business. And I'm proud to welcome you to this joint webinar with Miami TechWorks. And we're going to let you stream in for like a minute or two. So I see, man, a lot of people streaming in, so that's good. So we just welcome you to the webinar, and we're just excited that you're here. And you're going to get way too much good information. You're going to have so much good information. We want you to ask a lot of questions and make it engaging. So I'll just give it a minute. I'll see you guys streaming in.
In the
We went,
meantime, oh,
there
oh,
you
I'm
go.
sorry,
Go
go ahead.
ahead. Oh,
In
you
the
go ahead.
meantime, please feel free to drop your LinkedIn link into chat so we can all get connected and work on some future collaborations. I'm going to drop the Miami TechWorks link in as well. This is to be a great way for you to just stay updated on all of the things that we're working on, all of the great collaborations that we're doing. Hopefully, some of you all can be added on to that as well. So, thank you all for attending. Look forward to connecting with you all.
Yeah. And I'm like Kevin said, well, put your name in the chat. We want to know who you are, what's your type of business. And we would also ask you if you have any questions, please put those in the Q&A section. And we will answer it. If it's something that we can answer in the meantime, we will. But if we need to wait for our experts to answer it, we will answer it a little later on in the thing. So we'll go ahead and get started. So just to do kind of like the situation awareness, you are in the webinar with SBDC at FIU Miami TechWorks. It's focused on creating talent pipelines, apprenticeship, and internship programs for your business. We have really two great presenters. I don't want to get in the way, just like you don't want to be in the way of somebody in lunch. I don't want to be in the way of the great presenters that we have here. So I'm just going to kind of do some general overview and then turn it over to Kevin so that he can talk about the great resources and programs and information they have. But like I mentioned, I'm Brian Van Hook with SBDC at FIU. We have 27 consultants, both in Miami-Dade and also the Florida Keys. They're all experts in different areas, such as you're going to hear from Kiomara, who is an expert in HR, operations, a lot of other areas too that she's kind of quiet about sometimes. And she just surprises us. But we focus on helping you to start and grow your business. So if you're based in Miami-Dade County or the Florida Keys, please reach out to us. We will put in the chat how you can register to meet with Kiomara or meet with one of our other consultants. We also do operate another program that's under the Department of Defense that is called the Apex Accelerator. The Apex Accelerator, that's formerly the PTAC program, Procurement Technical Assistance Center program. And Lauren was saying that the Q&A was disabled. So just put your questions in the chat and we'll be able to cover it there. So I would say, guys, we've all had tech issues, right? So if the worst tech issue is that the Q&A isn't working, like we'll roll with that. We'll roll with that. And the Apex Accelerator program is funded by the Department of Defense. It's focused specifically on government contracting. So if you're looking for Department of Defense contracts, federal contracts, state and local contracts, we have consultants that can help you in those areas. Also is very focused on government-led innovation programs such as the SBIR, STTR programs. So if you need assistance in any of those areas, we also have the Apex Accelerator program. And would just encourage you, put your name in the chat, basically be interactive, give us some really tough questions. If I would say if you have any tough questions, give them to me or give them to Johannes. We'll take the tough ones. We'll let our presenters off the hook, and then we will save time at the end to answer questions. And I think that's pretty much all I covered. Oh, I would tell you guys real quick, we're big believers in practice what you preach. So we're here today to talk about internships and apprenticeships. For SBDC at FIU, we use interns very, very, very regularly. So actually, Lauren, that you guys see behind the scenes and you've got emails with, is one of our top student assistants at FIU. And for us, we wouldn't be able to operate the center without these really great students that are supporting us. And, we always have students every semester. They work with us for a couple of years, and then they go on to really great careers. And one of the best examples I can give you is Diana, who is one of our student assistants that work with us in a couple different capacities. She actually worked with us under the Miami-Dade Business Navigator program and got a lot of project management experience. She was able to leverage that project management experience to get her first job after graduating from FIU at Kaseya. And she said specifically the fact that she got hands-on direct project management experience, and the work that she did was able to leverage that into her really great job that she got at Kaseya. So when Kiomara or when Kevin, when they're talking about giving the interns or apprentices hands-on substantive experience, I'm here to tell you guys, do it because it does pay off for your business and helps you with the work that you need to get done, but it also helps you in terms of helping them to get a great career, a great position. So like I said, we're not just giving you great information, we also practice what we preach. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Kevin so that he can talk to you about the really great Miami Tech Works program that we partner with a lot, and also some of their resources.
Thank you, Brian. So good morning to, oh, excuse me, good morning, good afternoon to everyone. Once again, thank you for being part of this talent pipeline workshop that we have. Kevin Robinson, I'm one of I call us the Power Rangers. I'm one of the colleagues in Miami Tech Works. I work with a lot of the employers. So one of the things that we like to do, and I always say Miami Tech Works is the equal sign. So whenever you're trying to like balance an equation out, you have you have two things on opposing sides. So you have the academic institutions or the training providers on one side, and you have the employers on the other. Miami Tech Works, we try to be the people in the middle. We want to balance it out. This is an emerging market right now, and some of the things from speaking with the training providers and working with the academic institutions from Florida International University, Florida Memorial University, Miami-Dade College, Brain Station, 4Geeks, Iron Hack. These are all academic institutions and training providers that we collaborate with to help grow and to educate our our Miami ecosystem. And so then on the other end, we work with a lot of the small businesses. So we're constantly in conversation between the two. So that's what, in a sense, makes us the equal sign. One of the things that we've learned just from talking to the two is that both of the two don't really talk to each other. So I wanted to introduce, we think it's important that we let all of the small businesses know that the way that you scale, even sometimes if you don't have the funding, because that's always the most difficult part about scaling your business. First of all, what does that really mean, right? Gaining traction and scaling. How do you do it when you don't necessarily have the funding? So, of course, everybody goes the grant route. We understand that. I know writing grants is cumbersome. Thank goodness we have ChatGPT now, but guess what? Everybody else uses it. So it still kind of levels out the playing field. What you can do is develop a really good relationship with the employers. So one thing that I'm going to share my screen, but then I'm going to put this into chat. For instance, FIU has a data science internship available. How would you know that? You would know that by coming to Miami Tech Talent Coalition meetings. I'm going to drop that link into chat a little bit later. You're also going to know by being a part of this workshop. You're also going to know by developing a good relationship with FIU. But then, FIU is a large institution. How do you really know where to go? This is why you have to have great relationships with organizations like Miami Tech Works. We can help you with that. We understand the mindset of a small business. All of us are entrepreneurs in if not now or in one point in our life, or we spoke with a lot. We understand how difficult it is. And so our goal is to work with you to help build the ecosystem. So Miami Tech Works, our KPI, or the thing that we need to do and why we were created, was to help students get jobs or help participants in our programs get jobs. So we have to make sure that this pipeline works. So I wanted to introduce this plan to you. As you see, you're looking for data science interns. Why are data science interns so important? Why would this be so beneficial to your business? These are just kind of things to consider. So as we have the conversation about artificial intelligence, machine learning, the foundation of that is your data. You have to have your data. So now that you have data, what kind of business do you have? Some businesses that are service oriented, sometimes I think it's a little bit more difficult to figure out what type of data are you collecting, because maybe it's more qualitative, not quantitative. But when you're in sales, you naturally have data, because as long as there's some transaction, you have something in your system that can help you just see, what does your client base look like? So you're able to get these data science interns. You have 3 undergraduate and 1 graduate. Why I like this so much is that they actually built in a project manager for you. That's what the graduate student is for. So these are, depending on where you are in your business, you know, you're going to be able to have like a real team, and it's funded through the Knight Foundation. So if you are a small business, it would be in your best interest to know who is in the Knight Foundation. They are always, 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 always funding opportunities at universities and academic institutions. I'm going to put a link in chat as well. So now we know that internships are available. Miami Tech Works, the number one issue that we have with a lot of businesses, when you define an internship, sometimes it is way out of we call it the reasonable scope, which I can understand that. You're learning, you know, being an entrepreneur, you're just doing everything day to day. You don't really know like what does a 12-week program look like? How do I define it? Is this reasonable? Like, who's gonna am I gonna be able to help this person? Just name it. How are we gonna track the progress? So we have this link. John is not on the call. I don't think he's on the call, but someone on our team, he created this PDF for you all. Please click on the link. You go through this. This will give you time to think about and to consider, what does an internship like look like? You also can use ChatGPT. So I'm gonna always plug that, or you can use some large language model. This is excellent for when you apply for these internship opportunities. Oh, I wanted to backtrack. It says that the deadline was July 3rd, but we can kind of work through that. So I just wanted to let you all know that too. But when you apply for these opportunities for these internships, you're going to definitely be interviewed by whoever is offering the interns, and they're going to want to know, do you have like a clear plan? So it's nothing greater than for them to get on and you have a clear plan. And then it's always great when FIU sees Miami Tech Works logo on there. It does kind of mean a lot because we all work together, and we want this to be successful. And we really tried to like think this out as much. The PDF might seem a little cumbersome. It might seem like it's a lot, but we do that on purpose because I say all great CEOs are great communicators. You are a great communicator when you are considering like almost every possible idea or thought pattern. So please use this as a guide. One more thing that I do want to add is another internship opportunity. We had a great partnership with this organization called Parker Dewey, a nonprofit. And so I'm just going to say that the Lucan Foundation, they were able to fund a lot of micro internships. So a micro internship is like, I'm a little busy. I need a 2, 3 week, 4 week, like maybe project or 15-hour project, something that I know that I could communicate this to someone and they'll be able to just kind of get the ball rolling and help me get to the next level. Unfortunately, we are not able, Miami Tech Works, we ran out of our grant funding for these projects. This is actually one of the projects that Johannes was actually the lead of for Miami Tech Works. And we had some pretty good success stories from some of our small businesses. But let's say you don't have the funding that you need, but you still need help. These projects are like $300, and you're able to interview. You're able to work with different academic institutions. You get to pick the ones that you want to work with. Sometimes and quite often they're still funding for small businesses. It just unfortunately cannot be through Miami Tech Works, but you can always click on the contact us link and email Parker Dewey and ask them, are there any other grants available for small businesses, especially if you're a minority small business in any way. A lot of times they will forward you to the right organizations that are offering internship opportunities as well. So I just wanted to just use those two and then give you that project outline. These two for sure are deliverables. Like if you do this and you do it correct and in time, you can get some results. So Miami Tech Works is really big on action. We don't want to just have you get on and tell you about the different opportunities. We actually want to tell you, like, these opportunities are available right now. Please, please, please develop great relationships with these universities as well. You have no idea how many paid work experience opportunities there are. Career Services does a lot of things. If you do have an internship or apprenticeship, if you're ready, we can contact you with Diana from Career Services. They're able to help pay for up to like 75% of it's reimbursement, but they are able to help you with funding. They're able to help you get placements. So we're here for you. I'm going to put my LinkedIn in chat. I don't know if Johannes or Terry Ann wants to say anything, Terry Ann is a director from Miami Tech Works. I'm pretty sure if you don't know her, I'm pretty sure you've probably seen her. So hello, Terry. So if you want to say anything to the team, or if Johannes, if there's something that you would like to discuss, the floor is open.
Thank you, Kevin. I'll just say real quick, thank you all for being here. This is an exciting topic for us. Just a quick overview of Miami Tech Works. We are an initiative funded through the Economic Development Administration under the Secretary of Commerce. And we're part of what's called the Good Jobs Challenge grant. So our goal is to ensure career pathways for the region that lead to high-paying jobs. And one of the ways that we need to do that is through partnership with groups like the SBDC and directly with employers such as yourself. So I cannot echo enough what Kevin is saying is your voice is extremely important in this conversation. And the fact that you all are here today is just a sign that the economy is growing and you all are very interested in creating internship and early talent pathways. I'm going to post a little later in the chat that at least on the technology side, which if you are a business today, you are technically a tech business or a tech-enabled business. One of the most impactful things that we did was we launched a gap analysis of the region to view how do we stand as a tech region in terms of developing talent and whether or not we have enough talent to meet employers' needs. And we even looked at roles such as sales, because as you know, as a growing business, you're also going to need sales. So I hope as you read that analysis, you're able to gain from it that we're growing, the pipeline is here. You don't have to go outside of South Florida to find the talent that you need. As a small business, you may need to be creative in how you compensate that talent or the type of benefits that you offer. But by all means, groups like the SBDC, Miami Tech Works, the Beacon Council, Career Services, there are tons of resources available to help you scale and grow. So I want to thank Brian and Kiomara and Lauren again for co-hosting this with us and looking forward to the content.
Cool.
Thank you, Johannes.
Yeah, Johannes.
Thank you very much, Kevin and Brian. And Terry Ann gave an excellent overview about our grant. Again, we're here to support the small businesses any way we can. And so that's why we're here to offer these resources for you. So thank you for joining us today and for being a part of this. And now I'll pass it over to Kevin to see if there's anything else he wants to wrap up with.
Thank you. I believe we have a question from Mari Casades.
It said, I thought it was about the chat being disabled.
I just see a hand up. I wanted to make sure they were acknowledged.
Yeah, if you do have a question, Amar, just type it in the chat or type it in the Q&A. We can get to it. I see that some of our folks we've been quick answering questions or answering them live.
Okay, perfect.
Oh, cool.
And just to make sure, does everyone have the Luma link? Miami Tech Works, we're having a coalition meeting on August 21st. And it's I can't even explain how many relationships that we've seen, employers or academic providers. I mean, you could just name it all. Like we've seen it all. We've seen so many type of collaborations and connections from our coalition meetings. We definitely encourage you to come. This is an opportunity for you to get in front of that person, maybe from the Beacon Council, maybe from DDA, maybe from MDC or FIU or FMU or Barry, or I mean, you name it, even from SBDC. Usually someone is there from some council from somewhere that, I always say it takes one person to change your life. And a lot of times it's just walking into the right room. So we would love to have you there. I put the link in chat and it's on, again, August 21st at 9:30. And it's going to be in Coral Gables, a really nice place. The team just did a walkthrough last week. So can't wait to see you all there.
Yeah.
All right, Brian, thank you so much, man.
No, thanks to Kevin, thanks to Terry Ann, thanks to Johannes. I would say I would validate what they're saying. Make sure you go to the networking events. I know we always want to work in the business instead of working on the business, but it's an opportunity for you to network with other business owners and also to connect with a lot of the great resources that they mentioned. So I would encourage you to register on that. The link was in the chat. And then Without further ado, I was going to introduce Kiomara. Kiomara Hidalgo is one of our longtime SBDC and FIU consultants. She specializes in HR. As I mentioned, she has a lot of other expertises as well, but that's where she gets most of the demand in terms of the center, and just really experienced, really seasoned. And Kiomara really is great about working one-on-one with the business owners. As you guys know, HR is not always easy, and there's always a lot of complicated stuff and things to work through. So I just really proud to have Kiomara as part of the team. And, I'll turn it over to her to kind of get into the rest of the presentation.
Thank you, Brian. Good afternoon, everybody. I am very delighted to be here today talking with all of you, and also sharing the opportunity with every single one of the panelists here. Let me know if you all can see my screen.
Yep,
so
we can see.
Excellent. So very happy to be here and be able to share some information with all of you. And hopefully, we can connect sometime in the future as you go through this. I'll be more than happy to assist anybody that register with us with the SBDC, go one-on-one consulting sessions, and answer something more specific to you and to your business. But, very delighted to be here.
And Kiomara, you might, before you start, you might switch it because I think it's in like the presenter thing. So you might switch the thing. Only reason I know is because when I do presentations, it does the same thing. Where you might go to like where it says display settings.
Yeah.
And like switch it.
1 second.
Or do like the review. But I mean, it happens to me all the time. So that's how I know what it is.
Hold on a second. What did I do? Oh my goodness. No, it's not ending there. Let's see. Apologies about this.
Yeah, you could click on the reader the read view too.
Yeah. That's what let's see. Let me go back to it.
I'm gonna try it again. Second time's a charm. There you go. You got it.
Excellent.
That's teamwork. Teamwork makes the dream work.
Absolutely. And I'm with so many tech people here. It's always helpful. So no, very happy and delighted to be here with all of you today and be able to share some of the information with you. The purpose of this workshop today, we want to discuss what are some of the differences in having an apprenticeship program versus an internship program. Both programs are very good and very helpful for businesses to have, and also is a very good way to attract and retain talent and to build your talent bench strength. And we want to cover today what are some of the differences between these two programs, what are some of the components that makes one program successful versus the other. We also want to share with you some of the federal, state, local resources and programs that are available for businesses to explore how to actually implement either your apprenticeship or your internship program. I know Kevin already mentioned some of that, and some of the resources that Miami Tech offers through their programs. So we want to make sure today we explore some of the things that you could do to make sure your business have a successful program implemented and you can tap into those resources. So, many businesses sometimes ask themselves, okay, so what's the difference? Why one versus the other? Why should I implement one or not the other? Or can I implement both? And, and those are all very valuable and good questions to ask. So one of the things that we want to do is kind of go a little bit in terms of, so what are some of the differences in terms of the official definition that the Department of Labor does for these programs? And one of them have to do with the length of time. Internship usually have to do with short-term assignments, projects like Kevin mentioned, usually dealing when students are out of classroom, summertime, spring breaks time, things of that nature that tends to be very short term, a month to 3 months, usually that's the duration. And the level of structuring on internships are less structured. You know, it has more built-in flexibility, if you will, compared to an apprenticeship. That is a more structured training plan. And obviously we also have mentorships program, which, you know, an internship not necessarily always include mentorship. Is always good to have as part of the program, because you want to make sure the intern gets the best and the best learning out of it. Apprenticeship though is a more structured, it's a more individualized one-to-one, because it's actually built with the intent to have the apprentice get some of the skills, get some of the credentials, usually leads on to industry certifications and skills that are more long-term in terms of the business skills that the person is doing. Now, one of the things that when we think about these programs is that, especially in today's markets, you know, it's a way today when we see the labor market that is so tight. And, you know, small businesses, and I see it every day with a lot of my clients that I'm helping through hire, attract, retain, and motivate some of the workforce. You know, these are ways to build your talent pipeline, because remember, you are in the marketplace also competing with corporate America for sometimes the same talent pool. So one of the differences as we look at some of these programs is the paid. Internship has the flexibility that can be paid or unpaid, and not necessarily may lead you not have the commitment to have a person hired on a full-time position after the end of the program. It may be they come in, do the program, it's a way for you to assess that talent capability, but you don't have any further commitment once the internship program wraps up and you provide the feedback to the student and to the university, because it's always good to do so, and with that individual. The apprenticeship, though, it is, since it's more structured, as we discussed before, it's a credentialing program. It does have a more structure. It is a paid program. It does lead to industry recognized certifications. And also it is, you have to have, it is considered an entry-level job into a more permanent position. When it comes to college credits, both positions have the ability to offer college credit to students. And you all have to do when you work with your career services department at your learning institution that you're partnering with, on how to structure that, because there are some specific requirements that have to be met in terms of how you structure your internship program for those to meet the criteria for credit eligibility at the college level. Now, when we look at this in terms of the general program, you know, internships tend to be in the US, traditionally have been more popular because they have less commitment, long-term commitments attached. In terms of some of that, for companies, it's a good way for them to experience talents, almost like a test drive. Now, Europe has been traditionally, and still to this day, Europe incentivizes more the apprenticeship programs versus the US. Apprenticeship in the past, and they are resurging quite a bit again, used to be more prevalent in the trades and also in the manufacturing world. They used to be very, very popular for those type of industry, manufacturing, trades, and the likes. Internships for their part are more common at the college level, is entry level, but usually mostly focus on college students. Apprenticeship could start from high school. And especially you see that in a lot of trade schools or a lot of high school programs that have those dual enrollment type of programming, where a student can actually finish high school with some technical credentials. And we have some high schools here in Miami, like Robert Morgan is one that specializes that when those high school students finish, they actually graduate with HVAC certification, electrician certification, things of the like. So for those type of schools, that's where you see more of the apprenticeship programs coming through. And they start more at the high school level. It can be at the college level as well. And we also see a lot of apprenticeship popping up in tech work, because we have seen, especially in technology, that a lot of the successful sometimes programming or software developer engineers not necessarily are college grads. So we have seen a lot of advantages for both type of programs and a huge resurgence in terms of the apprenticeship, expanding beyond what it used to be in the past here, just the manufacturing world. And construction as well, because construction was also an area that utilized very heavily the apprenticeship program. So it tends to be a more hands-on work experience rather than and training, but it has the component that it has a more hands-on aspect to it in terms of how the program works and how it's structured. Now, if we think about from your business perspective, you're probably thinking, so what is best for me? And the answer is, it all depends. It depends on what your business industry is, also what you want to get out of the program, and also what you could reasonably offer to participants. But nowadays, when we think on the labor market that is so tight and the challenges that a lot of businesses have been facing to attract and retain talent, you know, an apprenticeship is a way for you to bring in, develop your talent from the ground up, being able to create your own bench strengths, because you're going to start recruiting and attracting and developing people from very early on in their career. And that also usually tends to more retention. That's where also the difference on your company culture to keep that talent. Because especially when we think about now, we hear a lot in the market talking about the generational gaps, and also what drives, what motivates them is very, very different. So when we think, especially now, millennials and Gen Zs that are the one dominated a lot in terms of the market coming in, the labor market, they are not necessarily attracted to the big name corporation. They're more attracted to the culture, the opportunities, the treatment they receive in the workplace, the flexibility, the inclusiveness of the workplace is very important. And that is more attractive. And you have to think of that. It's more attractive to them. And while you are structured, and especially somebody that you offer them the opportunity for career development and growth, because when you create an apprenticeship program or an internship program, you are actually having the opportunity to bring somebody on board, get them immersed into your business, develop them, and also be able to shape their career and also how they contribute and collaborate into your organization.
And Terry Ann, I see you have your hand up.
I do, because I just want to support what Kiomara is saying here. As a small business, you actually have the advantage of establishing your brand with talent very early on. As you engage with training providers, you can get embedded into the classroom early and often for pretty much very low cost, right? So you don't, and to Kiomara's point, if you're a well-known brand in the region, if you're the banks, the Chewies, the Magic Leaps, etc., their names are going to be well known. So students are going to be fighting for those positions. But if you have embedded yourself on that campus as a brand that maybe has gone to speak with the students about your career pathway, or if you have an alumni connection to the school, maybe you yourself went to the local school or somebody on your team went to the local school, and you've made that connection, you can then begin to gain that notoriety with that school, with that degree program. And that's one way that you can curate and cultivate your talent pipeline, by being very visible and accessible to those students who may have an interest in working for you. And then to Kiomara's point again, your competitive edge will be that flexibility or developing that culture within your organization. So that way the students or the participants in whatever degree program you're looking to create your talent pipeline in, it gets to see you as an employer that they want to work for. So highly recommend that you build the connections now. The cost is going to just take your time to nurture that relationship. And as Kevin was mentioning previously, tapping into the resources that help you subsidize some of those early internship or apprenticeship fees. So thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Terry-Ann. So as we start diving, what programs are best for your business? So we're going to get into a little bit of a more deep dive into each one of the programs, so we have a better understanding and help you hopefully with this in your decision-making approach to what program is best for my business, and should I have both? Because nothing prevents you from having actually both, depending, you may have for some technical operational areas an apprenticeship that can provide the level of a structure in your business, or even a tech area in your business that allows you to do that. And an internship for other areas within your business that it may be more suitable for your business needs to have that. But we're going to take it right now, like a little bit more of a deeper dive, if you will, into each one of the specifics for each one of these programs. And hopefully that will be a help to help you decide which one works best for you. And we know apprenticeship have been dating back from way back from the Babylon time. So that's quite some time back. And it was a way, even if you think at ancient history, that was the way that all those masters, they used to have their disciples or apprentices, and they taught them their trades or how they were doing things. So most of them, that's the way they learned in the past. That's how knowledge was transitioned from or transferred, if you will, from one person to the next, and that's how skills were developed. So that's how things started way back then. So if we're going to look at then what is an apprentice program, so in today's time and day, it is a more a structured way of a training program, and where you create, for example, a very specialized area where you have a program developed, where you have the need to bring somebody. Like, for example, nowadays I have a lot of clients that need people in technology. Sometimes they need programmers, sometimes they need also in construction. I have a lot of clients that are general contractors, and as we know, for example, when we saw the infrastructure bill come out, a lot of them got a lot of projects that they were available, but then they have the talent shortage. And they were like, oh my God, I cannot find some of these people. Or I have some clients that have some technology business and they are struggling to find people that can help them with the skill set in programming, in software developing, in developing their web, or even managing their social media. And these are things that come out quite a bit, especially the social media management, digital marketing, things of that nature that are very prevalent nowadays in today's business reality. So this is what are some of the things that we have to structure a program where we can then go and say, hey, if we're going to get these students enroll and hire into this program, so we need to have a very clear developed path into this is where you start. And especially with today's generation, they want to know how their career will progress. They want to know that they're not going to stay in an entry level, but rather, you know, if you're going to come in for a computer position, we're going to help you become AA certified. We're going to help you become C+ certified. Eventually, as you continue moving along, you might become Microsoft certified or Cisco certified. So we could help you achieve some of the certification that may be needed for the business to continue supporting their customers. But in the meantime, you are not competing out there for a software engineer with those level of qualifications already in their hands that can cost in the north sometimes of a six-figure salary. So when you develop your program, you already start creating, attracting, you see the capabilities, the potential in the individual, and you can start putting these people into these programs that would allow you to have a highly skilled employees base. They will be more productive, they'll be more focused, you have more loyalty because they see you as an employer who gave them the opportunity, who believed in them, and also who believe in their career progression. It also allows you to build a more diverse workforce, which usually it has been demonstrated that it leads to more innovation, better ideas, better access to market. You know, it's something that is very helpful for the employer, for the employee, but also benefits the community as a whole, because you also want to make sure that your business reflects the community that you serve. It's very important for business, it's very important for your employees and for them to identify with your business and your culture. For the worker, in the meantime, that would translate for them to have the ability to get an opportunity for them to develop their skills, to get higher wages, to get credentials that, you know, many times when you see companies, they post a position, we want 5-10 years of experience. And a lot of the entry-level people say, but if nobody gives me the opportunity, how am I going to build that experience? We also have to understand when we ask for 5 to 10 years of experience, that also comes with a price tag. So, you know, and sometimes you can get there without the added cost by building your own talent pipeline through these programs, where you give the opportunity to somebody and in turn, your business have the skills that it needs. Now, you could have a lot of these positions for entry-level employees, for some of the career technical areas, and you could build, and you see in many companies, they have those famous career ladders where you have the apprentice, then you see Tech 1, Tech 2, Tech 3, that also give the people and your talent pool the ability to see, okay, I have a future in this company. I have the opportunity, if I do good in the apprenticeship program and I get these credentials, I have the opportunity to be promoted to the next level of this position in the career ladder. So they see career growth. And that's very important for people to feel motivated. Many times, people like what they do, but they are not in it just for the money. They need to feel motivated. They need to feel identified with what they do and feel value. And also see that their future career growth, they have possibilities for it. So those positions have the ability that they are more structured. They have people see is exactly what it is that they need to make it to the next level. And it's on them to succeed and make it happen. It also leads to better and more transparent conversation with your employees, because people many times say, well, I want more money, I want to grow, what is it that I need to do? Then you could say, hey, you're an apprentice, this is the next step. It could be a tech 1, technician 1, electrician 1, HVAC 1, whatever the case may be. And these are the credentials that you have to bring on board in order to get that. And I know for many companies, sometimes the challenge on helping people pay for credentials, pay for certifications, have been, what happens then if they leave? Well, in the meantime, you're taking advantage of the skill set that the person has. But if they feel identified with the business and also with the culture, they are more likely to stay in your company, and you could work with those persons one-on-one. And there are steps that you could take also to insulate the business. There are things that you can do as a business owner, but usually the moment you provide the person with the opportunity for growth, that's what's matter for people, because they can see, okay, I can actually grow here and I feel value. And one of the things that is also important is that when it comes to that, small businesses have advantages that sometimes large corporations don't have. And it comes to the diversity and richness of the experience that they can get with you that they will not necessarily have access in a large company. Because in a large company, they most likely will be put to do one task, and that's the end of it. So they don't get to experience an end-to-end process of any particular project. So if we think about the statistic, 97% of employers recommend apprenticeship as a training model. And this is information directly from the Florida state, from Apprentice Florida. That is a very structured program that you can register your apprenticeship program to have a structured registered program that they could help you manage through. And we include these resources at the end of the presentation, so you have access to all those links and information and resources that are available from the state to you as a business owner. Now, when we think about the modern practices, you have 3 models. One of them is a registered apprenticeship via the U.S. Department of Labor. The non-registered, which is the one the business does on its own. And, they manage internally, they don't register with any of the entities, being either the Florida state or the Department of Labor, which is at the federal level. And then you have the youth apprenticeships, which, we kind of touched upon about the youth apprenticeship earlier a bit, which you manage a lot with high school programs, and where you also help and many of these programs also help students who have been struggling in classes, because, I also want to make sure we touch upon that. Sometimes there are students that enroll and there are programs that help them to manage through this and get some skills to help them be successful in life. And they help them complete their GEDs, and they help them through participating in some of these programs to give them some skills that they can make a livelihood. And this is where the business community can also make a difference in giving back to the community by helping a lot of these youth into getting their career and making a living and be successful members of the society. In terms of the register program, these are managed through the Department of Labor, and they were created in 1937 through the National Apprenticeship Act. And this is a structured program. It requires to be paid. You can pay entry-level wages to individuals while they are in the apprenticeship programs. Once they finish and they have their credentials, then obviously Then you can move them to a salary level, commensurate with their experience and skill level. So then is the only way you can retain them, because they have done their part. So as businesses, we have to do our part as well. They receive industry recognized credentials, and they also get trainings and instructions that will help them be more successful into what they do. And these are the entities where you could register your program. You have it through Apprenticeship Florida, and you also have it through the Department of Labor. Career Source Florida has a lot of programs, and especially they offer OJT, which through the OJT program, what they do is that they can cover the wages for those individuals for their first 90 days of employment with you, which is a program that you register and work directly with them. They offer funding to businesses to help them keep full-time employment. That you have to submit the hours to make sure that the person has been employed on a full-time capacity, for them to provide those reimbursement of those funds. But these are very good programs that I believe is a win-win, because it's a win for the business. You have the opportunity to provide the skills and employment to somebody, and then you have a Career Source to help you with also providing some level of fundings for these programs. I see my screen froze a little. I don't know if it's just me or you guys can see me well.
I can see it. I can hear
Okay.
you. You're good.
Okay, thank you. So these are some of the programs that can be really helpful for you, that could help you also manage and structure your program, and in the process provide you with a lot of the assistance that you and your business may need to make this a successful program. Now, we touch upon the non-registered apprenticeships, which these are usually employer-based. They are not formally registered with the Department of Labor. And these programs may be paid or unpaid, but may not lead to an industry certification. And the unpaid portion, I want to take this opportunity as an HR consultant to give you my views on that. It's a slippery slope, because it can lead to wage and hour challenges that, it may not a good situation for the employer to find themselves in. So, they are structured by the company to meet the needs of the company, but you still, you will not be able, for the person, when they are not managed through a structured process, through being either the Florida program or the Department of Labor program, because they will not lead to an industry certification program. Now, when it comes to the use, we briefly touch upon, these are for a lot of the already high schoolers in the last 2 years of their high school programs. And a lot of them, like we mentioned, some of those higher schools that have those dual enrollments or those technical programs, such as Robert Morgan, and I can remember right now there's another school that does similar programs. So some of the high schools offer these programs where you could have, for the last 2 to 3 years of while they are in high school, that you could hire the apprentice, and obviously they receive the wages and the programs. The student is also required, and the employer is required, to report on their progress through the high school. And a lot of these programs are, a bit more challenging, in the sense that you're dealing sometimes with minors, and there you have to be, depending on the industry, aware of a lot of also the labor limitations that apply to minors. I just want to give that as a parenthesis to make sure that, it is a good program. it is a good way to help students in the community. We just have to make sure that as employers, we educate ourselves to make sure that we structure it in a way that it still doesn't infringe in child labor laws. And I just wanted to make sure I emphasize that piece. These are things that if you would like to explore some of those with your with the higher schools and you want to implement a program like this, I'll be more than happy to do then one-to-one consulting with anyone interested in doing that, to ensure that we kind of stay clear of some of the minefields, if you will, when it comes to child labor laws, and that we make sure we follow a lot of the requirements of employing minors under 18 years of age.
Yeah, and I see Terry Ann has her hand up.
Yeah, so no, I'll add to that. But the summer youth internship programs, so if you're in Miami or if you're in Broward, are a great opportunity to give students that early career exploration opportunity. And yes, to Kiomara's point, definitely being mindful of the work restrictions that students have to adhere to. I spent about 15, 16 years in HR, so definitely understand that. One of the potential resources, in addition to Kiomara's one-on-one support, is FIU through their experiential learning department. They also help with the through Miami-Dade County Public Schools with the summer youth internship program. So that's another great connection for you to have locally. And then through Career Source Broward, they support the Broward Youth Summer Internship Program. And really all they need from you are employers that are looking to hire folks or hire the students and give them the career exploration opportunity. It all starts with you just having a clearly defined scope of work as to what Kevin was talking about earlier. So that's another two contacts, the FIU Experiential Learning and Career Source Broward if you are in Broward County.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Terry. And as she mentioned, those are the steps you have to follow. And then there are resources to help you structure your program. But they are very good programs, like I mentioned earlier, to help our youth to start in their career and for them also to start exploring what are their professional inclinations, what they really like to do. And here we have some of the components that will make a successful program. And we're not gonna go like one by one, but one of the things is important that you have buy-in with your team. Because if the people within your team that are responsible to work hands-on and training and mentoring the apprentice, they need to understand the importance and not just to put them to do busy work, but they rather engage with them and teach them the skills that the individual needs to learn to be successful doing the job. It's important that we educate our supervisors in terms of how to communicate, how to properly manage the apprentice, how to ensure they provide a structured training for them, and that they don't see them as an additional work. No, this is somebody that you have been chosen, hype up the program to them. You have been chosen to be a mentor because you are very good at what you do and you have the opportunity to develop somebody early on in their career, which is really what it is. So we need to make sure the way we communicate the goals and objectives to our existing workforce, that they understand that this is important for them, but it's also for them an opportunity to make a difference in somebody's life. And I think once people understand and see it in that fashion, I think it makes a huge difference. And again, for the employer, it's an opportunity to start assessing and building your own talent pipeline and have a good attraction and retention to your workforce. So we're now going to dive into internships, which are a bit different than the apprenticeship, as we mentioned earlier in the presentation. So we're gonna go through some of the basics. For the most part in the US, they have been more popular than the apprenticeship because usually, you know, universities and companies have developed a partnership that Kevin discussed earlier. And they do internship fairs where you as an employer have the opportunity to go on campus, bring your marketing and pitch your business. Make it exciting for the students to want to be part of your organization or want to be in an internship with you. And a lot of the big companies have been very successful in doing this for many years, and it has been a way for them to bring talent into the organization and tap into those early talents and creative ideas, because you know you're getting somebody right from the beginning of their career, and it's a good way for businesses to see, okay, this is somebody that we could offer a full-time job once they graduate, once they have this finish this program. It's a good way to assess, is this person a good fit for our company culture, for our business? And it has been very popular. You know, there are programs and universities that require students to have completed internship programs before they graduate. They are a bit less structured, so you have more flexibility than the apprenticeship. Typically, they are intended for entry-level work experience, as you are getting a lot of students. But also remember, sometimes some of these students already come with some work experience because they have started in youth programs and it has been participated in multiple programs from before. So not necessarily means that you're going to have to train somebody from zero, but it's a very good opportunity for the business to be out there and create those partnerships with the universities and get that one-to-one interactions, because you actually get the opportunity to go and do interviews on campus, to post your positions and internship opportunities on campus, or to partner with organizations like Miami Tech, that they bring both of you together and help both sides of the equation be able to get a successful program or placement into your entry-level or internship program or management program that you are putting together, because not necessarily is for clerical position. There are a number of organizations that develop management level programs where they start with internships straight up from college, because they bring fresh ideas. It's a way to bring innovation into the organization. And it's very important also to explore different ways of thinking. Outside of, you know, sometimes organization becomes what we call inbred, that everything is just the thought process just for the internal team and everything, you know, and it gets to a point that you need to have a fresh set of eyes, look at something in a different way. Some of the internship programs may provide college credits for work experience. It is a very competitive process nowadays. As I mentioned, a lot of the large companies, they have a very well marketing machine to go and market into the colleges, and I have seen it many times. I have done it myself many times, where you go and let me tell you, the experience is fantastic. As an employer, I worked also before in a tech company. I remember I implemented an internship program back then, and it was a very successful program. At the end, we ended up hiring some engineers after they graduated from FIU, but we kept them coming back every year from employment and internships, and you know, it was a very successful program, and it was a very good way to tap and compete with some other larger players that probably would have been more attractive in terms of their brand name and name recognition in the market. So for small businesses, the early entries and relationship and networking with career services is critical. Terry Ann, I see you have your hands up.
I do, because you said something, I wanted to touch point on it. So I looked at a latest statistic that said that when a company does have an internship program, they are 60% more likely to bring that intern on full time. And some of the larger employers that we interface with Miami Tech Works, they're telling us that they don't even post entry-level positions anymore because they have a pool of candidates that have gone through their internship program. And so therefore they don't have to post because they'll just pull directly from those internships. The other thing that we're seeing is we have some large employers that have really good structured big internship programs that their name is well recognized, their programs are so good that other employers, having seen that a student has went through that program, will look at that with some sort of credibility and say, wow, you were selected, you went through it, you must have learned a lot. So definitely students that put that on their resume, that's fantastic. And to your point, one of the really key things that as a business, if you're considering starting an internship or apprenticeship program, which by the way, if you could do me a favor and just answer in the chat, if you're considering starting an internship or apprenticeship program, just put that in the chat, that'd be great. Definitely being intentional about the mentorship component and understanding that you're going to get some benefit out of it, but what is it that you want the student to get out of it as well? So just think about that. In a little bit, I'm going to post some information, some data in the chat. It's from the Strata Education Foundation. It was some research that they did on how the states are doing in general on early talent pipelines. And it's going to give you some idea on where Florida is in terms of how can we help improve the internship programs. But would really love to know from the attendees here, are you considering starting an internship or apprenticeship program? And then if you have any questions on that.
Yeah, I do see you got one already in the chat in the Q&A. So Eric started it off.
Okay, so if we, are you guys answering through the chat? Okay, just want to make sure that everybody's questions get addressed as we move along. So one of the things that, and we think about the key factors that we have to think about, is offering paid internships. And I touched upon briefly before on why it's important. This is also, at the end, you want the person also motivated and focused, and you want to make sure that they feel their contribution is also valued. And it's a way to also show appreciation to the intern. It's important that the project that we offer is something that provides a good experience for the person, that we don't just bring them to do filing, because then it's demoralizing to them, or in the way, it's not that they cannot do filing, but that's not the only thing that they are doing. And it's also, we want to make sure that whatever we put them to do is something that can lead to a career path into the organization. And you also want to make sure that you kind of keep in touch in terms of the interns that have gone through your business, because it's a relationship that you have already established with them. And it's a good way to make sure when you have the need for a full-time to tap into people that you already have had the opportunity to meet, to see how they work, to see how they mix within your culture and what they can bring to the organization. So it's a way that you have already kind of test drove the skills and the abilities and the aptitudes of the individual. You know, I always said I'd rather hire for aptitude than for technical skills, because you can train technical skills, you cannot train for behavior. So when you have had good interns that you love their time and the way they work in the project and how they interacted with your employees and how good they immersed into your company culture, is somebody you want to keep in touch, is somebody you want to eventually bring into your business. And you see a lot of the large organizations, what they do every semester, they touch upon and say, hey, we are here for you if you're interested in doing the program with us. Before, I see that with my nephew. He's in an engineering programs, and I see some of the companies he has intern offering every time the summertime comes and for the winter break. Hey, we are thinking of you. We want to make sure that you want to come and do this 6-week break with us, and they want to make sure they keep engaging. And I see how companies constantly do that, because it's a way for them to keep in the top of the mind of the individual, and also for you to hire people. And let me tell you, hiring is not an easy task. It can be very expensive and it's very time consuming. So if you already have had somebody that you were happy with their skills and development and performance within your business and how well they adapted to your business culture, it's a win-win situation. Because hiring, let me tell you, being an HR professional, headhunters are very expensive. And interviewing and posting in job boards and going through those processes are also very time consuming. So this is a very good, effective way to bring talent into your organization and have the ability to try them and test them and keep in touch with them and have them engaged and already loving your organization. Now, it is important though that we put a framework into how we bring interns into the program to be able to have also a positive experience on them. And they should be treated like any other employee. You know, they should be put through your onboarding process so they know about the organization, mission, vision, policies, procedures, also understand expectations in terms of the organization. So when it comes to that, you want to put them through the same onboarding process as all your regular employees go through. And then you also want to designate who's the person who's going to be managing the program to make sure that the person is getting what they are expecting out of the program, that they are happy with it, that you have somebody internally just managing your internship program, or you have a designated mentor or supervisor who is the only person that is always going to be touching point with the individual, but is also going to be providing feedback to the intern, and is going to be ensuring the person is getting the knowledge that they expect out of the program, and that you as an employer are also getting to evaluate and see, okay, does this person have the potential and skills to what we need in the business, and if this is somebody that eventually do we want to bring on a full-time basis. So you have the ability to do that. But it's important that you have a framework in terms of how you bring the interns in. And you have to be creative. I think we talked earlier about, you know, some of the large organizations, they have a big marketing department and they do heavy marketing into colleges and universities. And sometimes, you know, it's not easy for small businesses to have or compete with some of those marketing strategies and budgets. But you have one advantage, and you could offer more meaningful work. And interns value that way more than, okay, I'm just going to be put to follow accounts payable and just do accounts payable, rather than, you know, I'm bringing somebody into the accounting department who will be able to see and shadow the one-man show that we have in accounting and be able to see anything from the very basic journal entry onto what are the closings of the month. So that's more meaningful and a richer experience for the intern, and students tend to be more attracted to that than to just be doing or learning one task in a large organization. So this highlighting a lot of these facts, small businesses have a lot of advantages over large corporations that you just need to articulate to them and work with your career services department for them to help you how to position that messages, how to position it into the postings that you do, and when you participate in those career fairs and events that they host, that you are able to come across as a more desirable company than any of the other one, because you will be competing with other companies that may have, like we call, sexier packages or locations or you name it. But at the end of the day, people are looking at their career long-term benefits. And that has to do with having richer experience. Now, I felt it was important to discuss, some tips with you regarding paid or unpaid internships. So interns may agree not to be paid, but still the employers need to follow some guidelines. You still need to understand the wage and hour laws to ensure that we avoid future legal challenges. As long as the intern is properly classified as an intern, they do not have to be paid. But there is a primary test under the Fair Labor Standards Act, which is the legislation that governs wage and hour and overtime laws, to determine if the person should be classified as an intern or an employee. And this classification that we're referring to is in your payroll system, because the person may still be an intern, a paid intern, but in your payroll system, if you are putting the person as a non-paid intern, you need to ensure that the classification that you put them in your payroll or accounting system, it is in line with the regulations. And that's why this slide may be a bit busy, but I felt it was important because I understand we're going to be sharing all of this with you, that you have all of those specific to avoid any pitfall unnecessarily. The program is to be primarily for the benefit of the intern. It should never be to replace an employee. If it is, then it has to be paid because it is considered an employee. So it's very important that the work that the intern does complement instead of displacing regular employees. It's important that the intern and the employer understand that there's no commitment of payment at the conclusion of the internship if this is an unpaid internship. I would still advise you to go through the primary benefit test under the FLSA before you decide to embark on an unpaid internship, just to make sure it's a good step just to protect, to ensure that you have it properly structured and that there's no confusion. So in that way, you protect your reputation with the intern and also ensure that there's not compliance issues in the process. So I know there's a lot of bullets or information in here, but it's intended to do so because, I think it's important that you understand how the primary beneficiary test works. And then, there are certain criteria that also are part of this test that you have to make sure when you are structuring your program that you follow through. You know, the experience can be an extension of the classroom program. You know, it may not be necessary, like I mentioned, just a one-sided, just to benefit the employer, and then there's not learning opportunities for the intern. It can benefit both, but definitely the learning experience of the intern must be kept always at the forefront of the program. It has to be well-defined. I believe Kevin showed earlier one posting that, and he's sharing with you a template in terms of how to properly structure the job in terms of the program, the objectives of it, and then how you post it. And then when you work with your career services in the universities, they also will help you and guide you through that process. So you're not alone in that. So don't feel like, oh my gosh, now what I do? No. There's a lot of help and resources to help you structure it. We have Miami Tech. We also have career services to help you make sure you have clear goals and objectives, and that you have a very successful program that definitely will benefit your business, but will also benefit the student. And what are some of the benefits for you? You may ask. Well, you know, you have access to qualified skilled workers. These are people who are working in their degrees. They have the know-how. They're getting a lot of the learnings that they need to make sure that they can apply that to your business. You also have well-prepared short-term employees. Your training costs, recruiting costs are significantly lower. You know, it does positively impact the productivity of the business. And like I mentioned earlier, you get to test drive the talent. I mean, you cannot have it better than that. And one of the things, and I want to touch upon this, explore new innovative ideas. Last month, I participated in the Global HR Leaders Roundtable, and it was talking about internship programs. And what, you know, some of the challenges that came across for some businesses when you have business owners kind of bumping heads with, especially in a lot of the tech work with AI now in the realm. You know, we have students coming in with a lot of great creative ideas, and sometimes, you know, businesses were not open, but then they want to innovate. You know, I think it's something that we saw several big businesses even talk about their experiences about that. And, you know, it's good to sit down, discuss, not shut it down, but rather say, well, let me hear about it. How can we implement that? How can we make it successful? How can we package this? I think we have to be open-minded to it. That doesn't mean you have to go and run and implement, but at least it's worth exploring and opening ourselves to those new ideas that may be coming through. And I see both Terry and Kevin have their hands up.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that. I'm about to put another link in chat. This is a resource for you all. MDC has an apprenticeship program. You can get apprentices from there, and you can also establish one. So I know this is probably a lot of information that everyone took in. You know, I always say that, like, everybody's probably information tank is full. But Miami Tech Works, we are extremely action oriented. I can't clarify that enough. So every resource that we sent you all, it's for you to click on it and then, you know, follow up on it, make the contact, call the number. You can go to the contacts page, and for sure, I know that they have students here that they are ready to actually be an apprentices. Please click on the link. Let them know that Miami Tech Works, you know, you can't really send you, but you can, you know, call us, go through them. We work and we collaborate on like literally everything. This is exactly what you want. Setting up an apprenticeship program is extremely time consuming. I would even use the word intimidating. It's just a lot of work. You have to have a curriculum. This is the main reason why it was important for us for you to have that outline, because you have to have it. You have to have the curriculum. It needs to be a set, like it needs to be very clear on what you want the apprentices to do. And then you also have to have the employment option there as well. So I know that Kiomara, you've discussed all of that, but these are things that they can actually help you with. Once again, I want to reiterate it all the time. Miami Tech Works, we are action oriented. So you can actually click on the link. You will actually get the help that you need. And they have the apprenticeships. They have a lot of students in their honors program that participate in these opportunities. And a lot of times you're getting like the best of the students that you can have be apprentices for your businesses. So any questions, please feel free, but the link is there for you. Terry Ann, you have the floor.
Thank you. And just to piggyback on what Kiomara was saying, and to my earlier point, if you are operating a business today, you are a tech business in some capacity. And so to be a part of an emerging technology right now, the other thing that we're doing at Miami Tech Works, and Kevin is working on this, is how can businesses optimize their operation through AI. We do have an emerging tech working group that's looking at entry-level pathways for students using AI, but also how are businesses preparing for their operations using AI as well. If you're driven by sales, if you're driven by engagement with your customers, how can AI tools, whether you're a business of one or if you're growing, how can AI tools increase your productivity? You know, if you are beginning to understand how to offload some of your tasks to AI, it's really important. So as business owners, I hope you're also lifelong learners and you're seeking out, just as you came here today, you're seeking out opportunities to get professional development. So I hope you also take advantage of free AI workshops and courses for you as a business owner to figure out how you can use these technology tools to learn and grow. So I'm going to put in the chat the free AI classes for the community that's put through Miami-Dade College. You can take AI for All, AI Citizens. And then if you do have some professional development money for yourself, there's also an AI for the workplace that you can take. But just keep in mind also that there's additional learnings available for business owners through different corporate partners and how to use AI for SEO, like if you've got a digital marketing strategy as well, and then AI productivity tools to help you be better organized as well. So happy to talk about those things as well.
Excellent.
Thank
Thank
you.
you both. Now, one of the things we saw what could be definitely the benefits for the business. Now, when it comes to the student, obviously, this is a good opportunity for them to start building their career, building their resume, building their experience, earn academic credit, and also to have possibility of employment right after graduation. It's a good way for them to get letters of recommendation. And like Terry Ann mentioned earlier, you know, a lot of employers sometimes see that in the resume, people who have completed an internship program in such and such company that has a very well-structured and well-known program, and they know these are the students that are coming with a good skill set to the table. It's a good way for the student also to develop their professional network and make industry connections. So you're providing opportunities for them to also grow and become good professional and be able to succeed in their careers. So it's a good opportunity for the business to land this talent, build a relationship with them, and bring the innovation and a skill set to your organization, but also for them to be able to grow and develop in their fields and start their professional career as well. So I mentioned earlier, there are a number of resources that we are including, and I know, like Terry Ann mentioned, we probably have an information overload here, but you know what, we feel it's important to provide you with the resources and things that can help you establish your own program, and that there are resources that are available to help you, guide you, and walk you through this. You're not alone. I mentioned earlier that the structured apprenticeship, so here we have the link to the Florida Apprentice program. You have the one for the Department of Labor, and you have some of the data and for the youth apprenticeship. Terry mentioned earlier, both the public school system, they have links and resources available to help you and partner with you to establish these programs and make sure that you have a successful program implemented in your business. So it's a good way for your business to have access to talent, but also to provide opportunity to students in the community, and for you to have also resources and in some instances even funding available through some programs to help you, like is the OJT program that helps you manage that program, and they provide level of funding through that program, and that's through Career Source. So we are providing all of these links to you in terms of how to create your internship program. I also put together a handout that is also going to be circulated to you, literally on the step-by-step process, a simplified way on how to put together your program in-house. So we want to share all of these process and tools to you to make sure that you could you don't feel overwhelmed, that like, oh my God, I want to do this, but I don't know how to. Well, we are providing the how-tos for you, and obviously the support of, like we mentioned earlier, from Miami Tech and also career services of the different academic institutions. These are also a number of additional resources that are available to you as a business in terms of how to do your program and how to do it successfully. So we want to open it up now to any questions, or Brian, I pass the floor on to you. It has been for me, I mean, I'm going to be here available to answer questions, but honestly, I do want to say thank you to all for joining this webinar today, for the partnership to Miami Tech, and obviously, for me is a real pleasure to be here sharing this time and all of this information with all of you. So Brian, I pass it on to you. Thank you so much.
So I'd just say virtually, like, shout out and major kudos to Kiomara, to Kevin, to Terry Ann, to Johannes. I think, like you guys said, it's a good problem to have. We overloaded them with information. They will, if so, you guys attended the webinar. Next steps, we will be sending you an email with a copy of the presentation as a PDF. We'll also include all the links that were in the chat. We will include all those links in that email as well. Because like you said, it was a lot of links, a lot of really good links. So we're happy to share those with you so you can implement. We also will have a copy of the video that will be posted to YouTube so that you can view it on YouTube in your pajamas with a cup of coffee, whatever you want. You can like get into Kiomara's thing. You can like remix it. You can rewind it. You can get into Kevin's stuff. You can look at that again. I did see that was a question from, I think, Justin, so we did answer that. And then I see that there was a question for Terry Ann on AI, and I think you're typing the response on that. So if you guys do have any kind of closing questions, please put that in there. But I was gonna end with a call to action, because I know that Terry Ann, Kevin, Johannes, and Kiomara, they all gave you guys some things that you can do to implement on this, not just to like take good notes and then not do anything. So the first thing would be, shameless plug, because I'm talking, register with SBDC. So you can register with consulting, or you can register with us so you can get access to really great webinars such as this. Number two, Kevin had sent a few times the link for LinkedIn so that you can follow them on Miami Tech Works on LinkedIn. Also, he sent a request where you can submit like a form to request an internship and get connected with them. So he did put that link in the chat. We also will send that to you in the email. So I would encourage that. And then they said that they have a meetup coming up in August. So would encourage you guys to attend in person. We'll also include that in the email to you. But I guess Terry Ann, Kevin, Johannes, any calls to action on your end? Anything else you want these guys to do, like immediately, like right now?
Yeah, right now start interacting with your local college training provider. If you need some labor market data that is going to tell you, based off of the industry that you're working in or the type of jobs that you should be like which training provider should you connect with, right? So which training provider is the best at putting out sales students or computer science students or HVAC, whatever it is, we'll be able to look up that labor market data and give you that data. So just let us know what it is that you're looking for. But start connecting with them now. You know, from being a small business owner, how competitive it can be out there. The market is going to tell you which direction you need to go in. Miami Tech Works, like I said, we're funded through the Economic Development Administration. So these are your tax dollars at work. Let us help you. I like to say that the Tom Cruise phrase from, oh my God, what's the name of that movie? Help me, help you. So yeah, let us know how we can help.
That's awesome.
Thank you, Terry.
And then, yeah, then go ahead, Kevin. I'm sorry.
One thing I want to say for the small business, please be okay with not knowing. Like, that's the reason why a lot of these grants and opportunities are here. If you have not done an apprenticeship yet, you just haven't done it, there's no way you're gonna know. It's just a lot. Like, it's a lot of information, and Miami Tech Works was created to help you. MDC, FIU, all of these academic institutions were here. That's why in a sense, you pay the taxes to get the government funding. So we are here to, as Terrian says, literally help us help you. So just let us know what you want. Even if we are not the deliverable, we can always communicate to you where you can get the services that you need. Because we want you to win. You know, that's the whole point. You know, is if you all do well, then the academic institutions do well. And we all do well. We all live here. We're all citizens of here. We pay taxes, so we want this to work. You know.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And as we're speaking about internships and apprenticeships, I want to shout out Lauren on our team for helping us ably plan and execute the webinar. And there's always like a tech glitch or something, so she ably navigated that very well. And just want to thank everybody, all of our participants, all of our panelists that were here, and thank you guys for attending, because as we say from SBDC, if you're doing something, you're not doing something else. So you guys took out about an hour and a half of your day to be with us virtually. So we just really thank you guys for joining the webinar, and be on the lookout, because we will send you a very detailed email follow-up with some of these resources and information. And Kiomara, any closing remarks on your end? I think you're on mute.
No, definitely, this is a lot of good information, as Brian mentioned, and we are here to support you and help you. So don't feel alone, like Kevin mentioned. You have a lot of resources available to you, and it can be overwhelming. And trust me, you know, as I work with a lot of small business consultants, businesses, and as a consultant, we see sometimes, especially the HR world, can be rather confusing and overwhelming, and it involves a lot of challenges, and sometimes most businesses don't have the ability to have in-house HR. And that's one of the things that the SBDC has, these programs available where you could have access to those assistants. And then you have organizations like Miami Tech that help you and walk you through, handhold you through the process on how to structure your program. So there's a lot of resources available to you. So it could be scary, but don't be. We are here for you.
And then the last thing I would ask is, Lauren did put in the chat, because we were shouting her out. She did put in the chat about give us your feedback on the webinar. So we did put in the chat. It will be in the email that we send back. And she will be sending you guys an email within 2 to 3 business days with all this information. So please take a minute to also fill out the survey, because we want to know what you like, what worked, what didn't work, what can we improve on, any other topics that helps us to do better webinars and trainings for you. So just thanks again to our panelists for being here today and our presenters, and everybody have a great week.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.